Hey everyone, it's Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Glad you could be with me today. Today I'd like to go over a song with you called One Step Up. It was a fairly popular hit from Bruce Springsteen in the 1980s. And it's a rather emotional, kind of like a personal confession song of his. Talks about his breakup with his first wife, Julianne Phillips, who is an up-and-coming model actress from the 1980s and the 1990s. I guess, life on the road with his band and everything was putting some stress on the relationship. She had an acting career also. And so this song is like about the unraveling of that relationship, kind of like a midlife crisis type of experience he was going through. And, it comes through in the song. Really beautiful lyrics. I think it's a beautiful song also because of the finger picking, and the music kind of go hand in hand with the theme of the song. If you pay attention to the break, the strumming part is reminiscent of a two-step dance type of move that you would do in a country dance club. If you going out with a partner and you're dancing a two-step type of thing. But the finger picking involved is really the challenge of the song. I think if you can play the song smoothly and consistently and stay on tempo throughout the entire song, well then you've done a pretty good job. And so that's the objective here in this video. We'll be going over the finger picking as well as some of the strumming, paying closer attention to the right hand than to the left. I've put together a PDF which you can access in the description area underneath this video, and it's got all the chords and the arpeggios, and you can click on a link to get it if you'd like. So I break down in standard notation and in tabs, how to play the arpeggios as well as the chords that are involved. As you're noticing, I'm playing a steel string acoustic here today. All we're doing is we're putting a capo on the 3rd fret. Now, this was one of the only songs on the Tunnel of Love album, which came out in 1987. It was recorded in LA, whereas most of the songs on the Tunnel of Love album were actually recorded in Bruce's home studio, which is kind of interesting. All right, so let's get to it. We're essentially talking about only 4 chords. So that's your first chord. It's a D sus2 over G. Essentially like a G chord, really. And I'm going to be referring to these chords in their standard as if I didn't have a capo on, okay? So it's like everything's the same except for the fact that we're actually not exactly in G. In this case, I think we're in F. Everything is pushed up 3 frets because of the capo. But the formation of the fingerings of these chords, I'm going to refer them as if I weren't using a capo. So this is a G formation, essentially. But it's called a D sus2. All right, because it's really a D sus chord with a G in the bass. Okay. There's your first chord. I'm going to go through all the chords right now. That's a D add 9. Essentially, it's a D chord with an inversion here. We've got, instead of the F sharp up top, we've got the F sharp in the bass here. And I'm only playing the bass string, the 6th string, and the top 4 strings. That's also true in the first chord as well. And then there's a G6. That's like an E minor, essentially. And then back to the D add 9. Okay? And the 4th chord that you really have to know is an A sus4, which he uses at the end of verses as well as at the end of the bridge. And we're going to go over the arpeggiations together. Let's do the break first because the chords are identical to the verses, essentially, with the exception of the fact that you're not going to be touching the top string in most cases. Now the break is the strumming part of the song. Now you have to bear with me on some of my singing. First of all, I'm not a singer by any stretch of the imagination, but also this capo thing really puts the song completely out of range for me, but I'm going to try my best. It's the same thing night on night. Who's wrong, baby? Who's right? Another fight and I slam the door. Another battle in our dirty little war. When I look at myself, I don't see the man I wanted to be. Somewhere down the line, I slipped off track. One step up, two steps back. Okay, in that break part there, the strumming part of the song, it's up, down, and you want to avoid hitting the top string because the lead vocalist is hitting these high notes, so you want to stay kind of subdued here and let the lead vocalist shine here. It's the same thing night on night. So it's up, down, and you want to use your nails, okay? But it's going to be like up, down, 2, 3, 4, up, down, 2, 3, 4, up, down, 2, 3, 4, up, down, 2, 3, 4. It's the same thing night on night. Who's wrong, baby? Who's right? Another fight and I slam the door. Another battle in our dirty little war. I look at myself, I don't see the man I wanted to be. Somewhere along the line, I slipped off track. One step up, two steps back. Okay, and there's your A sus4. Okay, that's an A chord with a sus D there. Once again, I'm going to try to avoid hitting the top string there. It just doesn't sound right for this part of the song. And these chords are all in the PDF, by the way. All right, so let's get to the arpeggiated parts, the verses. So let's go at these arpeggios together. First of all, I'm playing fingerstyle with actual fingernails. I don't like to play with these plastic picks that you put on your fingertips and things like that. I never got used to them. And having been classically taught at an early age, you use your fingernails. I would suggest that as a fingerpicking guitarist, you want to keep your fingernails on your right hand just like 1 to 2 millimeters above the flesh. If you're looking at your fingertips like so, in front of your face like this, I can see a hairline of nail over the flesh. 1 to 2 millimeters at most, okay? And try to get a lot of calcium in your diet. That helps keep your nails strong. Some people use like nail polish and stuff. I never really had the need to do that. You're going to be concentrating on thumb, index, 1, 2, 3 in that order. So thumb, I'll call thumb or T. There are actually letters for these fingers, but I find it too confusing. So I'm just going to be referring to them as thumb, 1, 2, 3. Index being 1, middle finger being 2, ring finger 3. We hardly ever use the pinky when it comes to finger picking. There are a few rare exceptions, but generally speaking, you only use your pinky nail if you're doing like a flush, a downstroke flush, like in flamenco, or at the end of a song. Okay, in that case, you're actually sweeping brush stroke down across the strings. And in that case, you'll be using your pinky nail. But generally speaking, you hardly ever use your pinky for finger picking. It's mostly these guys here. Thumb, 1, 2, 3. 3, 2, 1, thumb. thumb, 1, 2, 3. And by the way, on your left hand, you want to keep your nails really short so that you don't really encounter this problem of nails over strings and getting caught and things like that as well. I keep them fairly short on this side. In this case, okay, so what is that? That is thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2, 1, 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 thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2. Same old story, same old act. 2, 1, thumb, thumb. 1 step up. There we're doing a sweep on the middle strings. A sus4. Thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb, 1, 2, 3. The inside strings, not the outsides. Thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1. Thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2, 1, 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 thumb, thumb, 3, 2, 1, thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2, 1, thumb. Okay. The wraparounds at the end where he goes, I'm the same old story, same old act. 1 step up and 2 steps back. Back to the beginning. So once again, the G6 or the E minor chord. Thumb, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb. Thumb, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb. D add 9. Thumb, thumb, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, thumb. Back to the original D sus2 over G. 1 step up and A sus4, just the inside strings. Back to the beginning of the cycle. Okay, so that's pretty much it. And I would suggest, when you're learning these arpeggios and you're learning to play fingerstyle, that you start, arpeggiating these chords in a very slow process. And so you build up speed as you get the muscle memory down. You'd be amazed that after you play this, 50 times, 100 times, it'll just become ingrained into your mind. When you're learning parts, you always learn them slowly. Break them into the slowest components. If you can play them consistently at a slower tempo, only then should you bump it up to a higher tempo. So this song happens to be written at 75 beats per minute. I checked the tempo using a beats per minute calculator online. You can go anywhere, Google BPM calculator, and you could actually start tapping in the beats to all these songs and discover what their tempos are. It's very useful if you've got tempo changes, actually. But in this case, 75 BPM throughout the entire song. But obviously when you're learning it, you're going to be playing this thing very slowly, 40 BPM and slower perhaps. The important thing is that you're consistent and not jumping around. So if you were starting out slowly, you would actually literally slow it down to like 40 BPM or something and go thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2, 1. thumb, thumb, 1, 3, 2, 1, 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 thumb, thumb, 3, 2, 1, thumb. So let's try to do a little faster. Have to like nod your, sway your body or tap your foot while you're doing it, that is totally cool. And actually it's encouraged because that helps you get into the groove better. So it's like, now, the other thing to keep in mind is that you want to try to work the strength of your right hand, in addition to your left hand, of course. But I'm referring to the intensity of plucking the strings, because there's a difference between this and this. Really attacking the strength. I don't think it's meant to be that loud, but somewhere in between. And you want to experiment with that intensity. And that comes from the control that you have over the plucking of the strings. And if you're getting sloppy doing that, it means you should tone down not only the speed, but also the intensity of it. So don't necessarily pick that hard at first. But then try to practice it a little. Try to practice. Again, it depends on the song, on the spirit of the song. In this song, it's an emotional song. It's not going to be that heavy-handed. So you want to control that right hand. But it's at the same time, it's not a timid piece. And so it should not be played that quietly or timidly. You should try to give it a little bit of oomph, especially the break. Of course, we're talking strumming there, but you definitely want to let it go there. It's the same thing night on night. Who's wrong, baby? Who's right? Another fight and I slam the door on. Another battle in our dirty little war. Okay, so let it fly there. And in the last verse, you want to calm it down a little bit from the strumming. And, it's more of a peaceful type of ending anyway, and then the fade out. Then when you feel like you got the finger picking down, try singing over it. You gotta split your brain in two. There's a girl across the bar, I get the message she's sending. She ain't looking to marry me. Well, honey, I'm pretending. Last night I dreamed I held you in my arms. The music was never ending. We danced as the evening sky faded to black. One step up and two steps back. Step up and here comes Patty Schiaffa. One step up and two steps back. She's gonna help him get out of this misery. One step up and two steps back. One step up and two steps back. One step up and two steps back. Well, there you have One Step Up. And it turns out that Patti Scialfa did in fact marry Bruce Springsteen, and shortly after the album was released, and they went on tour together and have 3 lovely children, one of which competed in the recent Olympics in Tokyo in the equestrian competition. So wonderful stuff. All right, a beautiful song. Great song to practice your finger picking. I hope you enjoyed this video. Remember, there's a PDF that goes along with it. And I plan to do 1 or 2 more videos on finger picking, perhaps like Landslide from Fleetwood Mac, maybe Little Martha at some point. There are a few other songs, Never Going Back Again from Lindsey Buckingham. And I like to say in closing that I highly recommend learning how to play classical guitar, because classical guitar is fingerstyle guitar by definition. And, you know, finger picking comes very naturally to me because I was classically trained. And I think any classical guitarist will tell you that it's a breeze to pick up a lot of finger-picking songs that you hear out there. And plus, the classical repertoire is just so gorgeous anyways. You know, we're talking Fernando Sor, Francisco Tárrega, Carcassi, Carulli, Andre Segovia's studies, Bach transcribed for guitar, Mozart transcribed for guitar. Anyways, I started out with a book called Matteo Carcassi, the Carcassi Method. And there's a link for this book underneath the video. You know, it starts out with these arpeggio studies in the beginning. This particular edition comes with a CD to help you listen to the songs. And I can't stress enough how important it is to learn how to play classical, mainly for the beauty of the songs, but also your right hand technique. Now, having said that, classical music is beautiful to play, and it's the best way to develop the right hand fingerpicking approach to guitar. But I think there are some shortcomings with learning how to play classical music only. And that's namely the fact that I didn't learn chord theory until I was much older, and how to improvise, and then relationships between the chords, and how to solo over those chord changes. Soloing and improv is not a feature of classical music. I mean, classical music is almost by definition learning to reinterpret existing pieces that are already laid out for you. And that can keep you blindsided to what's really going on behind the music that you're playing. So in terms of the actual full appreciation of the composition, as well as to be able to compose yourself, I don't think that classical music develops that part of you sufficiently. The point I'm trying to make in closing here is that I think you should try to be as all-around a musician as possible. And that means playing multiple genres of your instrument, as well as trying to learn other instruments. It can only help you become more developed, especially if you want to become a composer. Well, that's One Step Up by Bruce Springsteen off of the Tunnel of Love album, 1987. I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope to do a few more like it in the future, as I mentioned. If you did enjoy this video, please remember to subscribe and like. That'll give me an incentive to do more videos like this. Thanks so much. This is Ricky Molina from the Ricky Molina YouTube channel. Have a great day, and I hope to see you in the next video.